This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
I'm Cindy Lauper. My psoriasis was all over, even on my scalp, which may mean 4 times the risk for psoriatic arthritis. But Cosentyx works on both.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com or 1-844-COSENTYX. Ask your doctor about Cosentyx.
Entering a realm between the hidden and forgotten, a slipstream caught between realities, a secret museum of the esoteric, the private library of shadows, all taking place in a world forged from mystery and caught between logic and myth. You are entering parareality.
Hello and welcome to the mysterious world of parareality, a reality where the unknown meets the unexplained and everything is a mystery. I'm Sandman, and I'm your host. Welcome back to the Parareality Podcast, everybody. The podcast that peers into the shadows, asks the uncomfortable questions, and dares to go where others won't. Of course, as I said, I'm your host, Sandman, and tonight I'm bringing you something truly special, and maybe even a little unsettling. This past May, I made my way to Townsend, Tennessee, right on the edge of the Great Smoky Mountains for the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival. Now, if you've never been, imagine a place where believers, skeptics, researchers, and curiosity seekers all gather under one Appalachian sky. There were food trucks, live music, some wrestling events, and Bigfoot merch as far as the eye could see. And yes, there was a couple of people there dressed up like Bigfoot doing the moonwalk. But seriously, beyond the festivities and beyond the laughter and the smell of all the food trucks in the air, there was something else, something deeper. There was a presence. The Smoky Mountains have always held secrets, ancient ones. Stories passed down through generations, whispers in the dark, eyes watching from just beyond the tree line. And the people who walk these lands, they've seen things. Oh yeah. And this time, they were ready to talk. Now, I didn't just go to the festival to hang out and grab a funnel cake, although I definitely did that too. But I brought my gear, I set up my booth under the tent, and invited the festival goers to step up and share their true paranormal experiences, raw, unfiltered, and in their own words. And let me tell you, the floodgates opened. I collected first-hand accounts of Bigfoot sightings deep in the woods, encounters that left seasoned hunters and lifelong outdoorsmen shaken to their core. But it didn't stop there. People opened up to me about haunted hotel rooms, UFO encounters, and yes, even those Bigfoot sightings. And I talked to a girl who said a ghost moved her stuffed plushie out of the bag in a haunted Brookstown Inn, and another person who claimed that his cousin came to visit him in the hospital after the cousin had died. Then came the UFOs, lights in the sky that moved with impossible speed and precision. One woman, who was a babysitter, told me point blank, and I quote, "I couldn't sleep for months after she saw an eerie, bright light hovering above the treetops outside her bedroom window in 1984. She was visibly upset when she told me that story, and whatever she saw that night outside her bedroom window shook her to her soul. And just when I thought I'd heard it all, there was a soft-spoken man who stepped up to the mic and whispered, 'Do you want to hear about the skinwalkers?' His story, well, you'll hear it for yourself later in the episode, but fair warning, once you hear it, you won't forget it. These aren't polished tales. These aren't campfire stories passed through a dozen people. These are raw, authentic voices from real people who looked me in the eye and said, 'This happened to me.' And tonight, I'm sharing them with you. So what you're about to hear isn't a typical podcast episode. It's a patchwork of experiences stitched together by fear, awe, wonder, and maybe a little bit of truth. It's a chorus of voices from the heart of Appalachia, speaking into the void, hoping someone, anyone, is listening. Well, guess what? We are. So whatever or wherever you are right now, if you're driving to the backwoods or walking under a starlit sky or huddled under a blanket in your room, I invite you to listen carefully. Some of these stories will make you think. Matter of fact, I hope all of them make you think. Some might make your skin crawl, and others might just hit a little too close to home. Tonight on Parareality, I open up the mic to the witnesses, the experiencers, the believers. These are their stories, recorded live on location at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival. Let the voices of the strange speak. Let the truth echo through the mountains. You're listening to Parareality, and to learn more, you'll have to turn on, tune in, and find out. And the unknown, well, that's going to start right after this. First of all, I'd like to take a few minutes to welcome some new followers of the podcast. Aurora Fade, Lazy the Leprous, and Bra Sky 59. Thank you all three for the follow. You know, I've got somewhere around 3,000 followers on the socials and who listen to the podcast and all that. So if you're listening to this podcast and maybe this is your first time or you've listened to it in the past and you're not a regular follower, well, shame on you, because you need to be a regular follower of this podcast. If this is your first time listening, I think you'll find that this podcast differs from others like it by offering a different perspective, a different point of view from the norm. I don't come into this with a preset agenda trying to sway you towards my side. I just simply present the evidence to you, and I let you, the listener, make up your own mind and encourage you to do your own research. And if you follow me on this podcast, I thank you very much. But If you do follow me and you're not following me on socials, then shame on you too, because you need to do that as well. It's where you can keep up with all the latest goings on with parareality, as well as get a look at a little bit of teensy-weensy glimpse into my personal life. I'm starting a new series on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel, Parareality 1, and I'm starting a new series on YouTube called Behind the Scenes, where you'll kind of get a glimpse into what goes into making a podcast. I'll give you a tour of the secret bunker and the setup here for the podcast studio, and do some just out and about weird stuff around the Nashville area, and give you a little bit of glimpse into what it's like to live in my world. I've got my first video up on there right now, and it is me at the annual Music City Hot Chicken Festival. It's not even a 10-minute long little video, little watch, so make sure if you're not following me on the socials, make sure you check that out, Parareality 1 on YouTube. Speaking of my socials and everything, I'll be giving you all the deets on how you can do that later on in the podcast. And speaking of podcast stuff, time for the big news. If you've been listening, you know what I'm about to say. Everybody, the Parareality Podcast is making its debut appearance at the Tennessee Wildman and CryptidCon this August, and I couldn't be more excited to be there. So mark your calendars. It's going to be on Saturday, August 16th, 2025 at the Milner Recreation Center in McMinnville, Tennessee. That's Saturday, August 16th, 2025 at the Milner Recreation Center in McMinnville, Tennessee. This is a full day packed with guest speakers, experiencers, and experts covering everything from Bigfoot to Dogman, UFOs, and more. If it's strange, unexplained, or lurking in the woods, you'll hear about it at this conference. And that's not all. There's a massive vendor hall featuring all the cryptid-themed merch you could ever want, plus local food truck to keep you fueled while you're exploring. I'll be there with a Parareality table and all my gear, ready to meet you face to face. So if you've ever had an unusual, mysterious, or downright creepy experience, come find me and share your story. It might just end up featured on the podcast like what these stories are tonight. It's the same format. So if you don't know what to expect, listen to this podcast. It's really easy. So come hang out with me, talk weird with me, and be a part of the Parareality community in person. For event details and tickets, visit the Tennessee Wildman and CryptidCon page on Facebook. That's Tennessee Wildman and CryptidCon. Just search it up and get your passes now. Until then, stay curious, and I'll see you there in the shadows.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
All right, guys, thanks for listening to that while I tried to pay a few bills here and there. So let's get started, shall we? Kicking things off tonight is TJ. Now, he's been having encounters with Bigfoot since he was around 14 years old. He even has a connection with the infamous Silver Bridge collapse in Point Pleasant, Ohio, which is a big part of the legend of Mothman, and he'll kind of touch on that a little bit. But here is TJ with his Bigfoot story.
All right, here at the 2025 Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival in beautiful Townsend, Tennessee, got my first interview of the day. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Great.
It's the rain is held off, so
thank God.
Having a good day.
And I hope it stays that way. So what's your name, sir?
My name's T.J. Owens.
T.J. Owens.
Yep.
Mr. Owens, I understand you got a story to tell.
Yeah, I've got a story. I'm out of southeast Ohio is where I live.
Okay.
And I saw your podcast booth. I had never met you. I thought,
Yep.
well, I'll tell a 5-minute story.
Great. I'd love to hear it.
It started when I was 14 years old.
Uh-huh.
About a 40-foot distance away from a 5.5 to 6 foot tall, I call them Sasquatch people now.
Okay.
minute and a half. It stared at me. I stared. I was fishing that morning, one summer morning. I was a kid, 14 years old.
Wow.
And at that point in my life, I knew that we're not alone out here. And I had used to watch the Leonard Nimoy In Search Of shows back.
Yeah, I used to love that show.
Yeah, but I did at that point. I knew we weren't alone, and it's been a lifetime now of different experiences. And it you grow up, you go through school, go to college, get married, normal kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it was always on my mind. And I had some other things happen in my life back then. But now that my kids are 2 boys are grown and gone, had some pretty incredible experiences. I've seen a total of 4 in my lifetime, and 3 at the cabin I live at, surrounded by Wayne National Forest, southeast Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Forest. I'm also a half hour from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, with all the Mothman.
Yeah. You ever had any Mothman sightings?
No, I haven't. We've been to the TNT area, Lisa and I, several times. Never had any Mothman experiences, but I did as a kid. When the bridge fell, December 15th, I believe it was, 1967, my mom and other women in town in Rio Grande, Ohio, where I lived, they wouldn't let us out of the house at night. When the bridge fell that December day, the word spread like wildfire that this Mothman creature, we'd heard bits and pieces, but as a kid, we weren't allowed out of the house for a couple of weeks.
Wow, how about that? They were scared, weren't they? Well, getting back to your Bigfoot story, when you were 14 or so?
Yeah, 14.
So did you get the sense that this thing was like, were you in its territory, or you think it was just watching you? Or?
I think it was watching me.
Just out of curiosity?
In a couple previous podcasts I did here in the past few months, I told people I feel like that the size of it and things is possibly... The kind heart and soul of a child myself, as a 14-year-old, maybe not innocent but kind.
Yeah.
It showed me at that point that they are real. They are out here. How they come and go and disappear at will. When you start talking about interdimensional things, I don't know.
I'm not really. I've had people say, that before, that they thought. Bigfoot were interdimensional beings. I don't really know that I put much stock in that, but I mean,
well, it's tough
because
I tell people that there's no book on how to find one, how to get a picture of one. I tell people it's not a standard issue critter.
That's true.
That if you want to hunt a white-tailed deer or a black bear, there's a technique.
Yeah.
There are techniques for that. I tried documenting. I was doing the phase of the moon. I was doing barometric pressures, food gifts, you name it. And you could go for months and months and months at a time, and nothing happened.
Nothing.
But that's how it started with me. 14 years of age, southeast Ohio.
How big would you estimate that was?
It was the one I saw was 5.5, 6 foot tall.
Okay, so not huge, like 8
not
feet,
huge.
9 feet.
No, not huge. I've seen a black one. I feel that it was a male at the cabin where I live that's enormous. That is an 8-footer that's 4 foot wide at the shoulders. And I keep it on the low. Where I'm at and things. It's just I want those experiences, and they seem to continue to every now and then, out of the blue, when you least expect it. Yep.
Well, that's a great story. Thank you for telling that to me. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're very, very welcome. Thank you for the moments we had here, and I will.
Yes, sir.
I'll stay in touch with you.
Yes, sir. Please do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that was TJ and his Bigfoot story. Wow. What do you think about that? Pretty incredible, huh? The Silver Bridge thing. Most people don't even get to see one Bigfoot, in their lifetime, but he's seen 4? So that's pretty incredible as far as I'm concerned. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you guys is that this is, I know you heard a lot of background noise. So this was at a festival. This is an outdoor festival, and there's a lot going on. Okay, so there's nothing I can do about the ambient background noises where you're hearing other people talking, because I was in Podcast Row. There were several of us podcasters, and we're all there podcasting. And we were right behind the main tent for the event. So sometimes you might hear, some something over a loudspeaker or something like that. It is what it is. It's an outdoor event. There's no sound booth. It is what it is. It's a lot better than what it was last year, where we had generators running and all that sorts of stuff. Last year was rough. It was their first time having podcasters at the event, and they really tightened it up. So kudos to the people who put on the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival. So anyway, you just have to deal with all of the background noises. So moving along to story number 2. So next up is Maribel, and she was staying with her family in the historic and haunted Brookstown Inn in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And remember me telling you at the top of the podcast about a girl that had a plushie that was taken out of her bag by something unseen? Well, this is her, and here is her story.
Well, hello.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is Maribel.
Maribel. Well, Maribel, I understand that you have a story to tell.
Yeah?
I would love to hear your story. What is it?
So it's actually a ghost story.
Great. I love ghost stories.
Me too.
Tell me about it. What is it?
Okay. So we were staying in the, what was it called? Historic Brookstown Inn in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I had this little plushie.
Yeah.
It's like a mix of a unicorn and a cat.
Uh-huh.
And she was in her little bag. She was sticking out of the bag.
Yeah.
And we left to go get some food for 30-ish minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we came back, she was out of the bag. She was, taken out of the bag, flipped over, and laid down on the table next to my bag.
Oh.
And when we were doing the ghost hunting portion of it, of the night, because that's the whole reason we went
That's
there.
the whole, yeah.
Was to ghost hunt.
Right.
We got a full clear as day sentence.
Oh. What did it say?
Yeah. I think we actually got multiple clear as day ones. Yeah, so one of them was what was it?
It's been so long, honey, I don't remember what they said. I just remember being completely flabbergasted.
And astonished.
Yeah.
Also, my reaction when we saw the plushie out of the bag was like, wait, did you leave that there? No. Did you? No. Wait.
Did that creep you out when you saw the plushie out of the bag?
No, I still slept with it.
So you were there to have a paranormal experience, then I'm assuming, yeah, right? So when you came in and you saw the plushie out of the bag and everything, did it give you a feeling like somebody or something was trying to tell you to get out, or do you think it was just messing with you, just like, ha-ha type deal?
No, actually. I was actually kind of happy because that's how we knew officially.
Yeah, and you were there to have that experience, so, yeah. Well, I'm very glad you got to have that. Yeah. That is so cool. Well, thank you for being on the podcast and telling me your story. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, that was Maribel. And she said she wasn't creeped out, but I think it'd creep me out for sure. Having something taken out of your bag by some unseen entity. But she said she was happy that it happened. Now, I tell you, as far as I'm concerned, that is a brave young lady. So thank you, Maribel, for telling us that story. Moving on now, we have Elizabeth, who has a UFO story from all the way back in 1984. And she's not the only person who has a way back story. There's a couple of others that have stories that date back into the 80s and the 90s. So we've got some people that have been carrying these stories around for a long time. Now, Elizabeth had been babysitting that particular evening in 1984, and she got home late. And then while she was trying to go to sleep, she was awakened by something outside of her bedroom window.
And she has a story to tell, obviously. So, hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Thank you for coming and telling me your story.
I'm glad to be here.
So, tell me about it. I understand it's a UFO story.
I do, and it really gives me the creeps to talk about it. But this happened when I was a late teens. I was babysitting, and it happened on November 11th.
remember it like it was yesterday.
1984-ish.
Wow.
And I was coming home from babysitting, like I'd mentioned earlier, and I had the sense that something was watching me, but I couldn't tell.
Okay.
So as I was walking from where I babysat to my house, I went to bed, did everything as normal, and maybe it was an hour later, and there was this strong beam of light coming through the side of my shade.
Wow.
And it was so bright and hot that it woke me up out of my sleep, and it shone into my right eye.
Wow.
And it startled me at first, and I went to the window, opened the shade and went to the window, and there was a craft hovering there right above the trees. And it sounded like you would hear traffic in the distance. It had a humming noise. And so I was startled. I ran across the hall to get my parents and freaked my mother out. And my dad he didn't know what it was. So they were basically shut the shade and go back to bed. Well, I did that, but I couldn't sleep anymore.
No kidding.
So the next day when we got up, you could see where the tree line at the top, where it was charred, the leaves were brown from where it was hovering over. And I guess the whole experience, I had no concept of time, but it felt like it was 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to sleep for months after that, soundly anyway.
Did you have any missing time, like some period of time you can't account for?
I couldn't tell.
Okay.
I couldn't tell. And like I said, that was over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And my mom still remembers it to this day. It was very vivid.
Wow. And what shape was the craft?
It was unique in respect of, as it hovered over the tree line, it kind of blended with the night. So it wasn't like clear, but you could tell something was there. I have no idea how big it really was.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It
Have
was
you ever
at
had
the
another
time.
experience?
No, thankfully.
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 Well, thank you for telling me your story. I really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Wow. Elizabeth was clearly shaken while she was telling me that story, even though it happened over 40 years ago. Now, I can't imagine something affecting me like that for so long. She's a brave person to tell me that story, and I appreciate it a lot. So, Elizabeth, if you just so happen to be listening to this podcast right now, I want you to know that I'm proud of you for telling all of us your story, and hopefully being able to get it out publicly, so to speak, like this will help you go a long way towards healing, since it affected you so bad. So I'm proud of you, Elizabeth. Congratulations for stepping up and telling us that story. Next, we have another UFO story that happened over 30 years ago. It also involves a bright light in the sky. Now, the difference here is that this light wasn't only huge, but it actually landed right in front of the witness. And to top it off, there were other people who witnessed this too. So this is Renee's story.
And Renee has another UFO story.
I do.
I love UFO stories, and I want to hear what you have to say. Please tell me your story.
Okay. So it's been about 31 years ago. My husband at the time left to go to work about 11, and I went to the back door, and I looked at the blind, and I noticed there was a huge bright light. It looked like the sun had landed in the back field.
Wow.
It was just, there was no shape, just the sun. It looked like the sun or a big star just landed. There was no sound. Nothing was moving. It just landed in the back. And I stood there. I was terrified.
Yeah.
And it stayed there for probably, 10 minutes. And it was just like floating over top of the ground. It was massive. I mean, it was probably about the half the size of my house.
Dang.
And I had a pretty big house at the time. And it like I said, it just hovered there. And I was traumatized. So I stood there for a really long time, and I watched this thing. Like I said, there was no sound, no wind, no nothing. There was just the sun. It looked like the sun or a star or something. It was just like a bright light. So it wasn't too much longer. It hovered up and it went over top of the house, and then I watched it go over the hill.
Oh.
Then I went to my kitchen window. Now this is weird too.
Okay.
I went to the kitchen window and I looked out the kitchen window, and there was, it was the weirdest thing. There was stuff everywhere in the sky. Just stuff, I can't even explain it. They were like, I know this is so hard to believe. I don't know. I know, but this is exactly what I saw.
This is why we're telling this story.
Yeah, it was like rectangle, triangle shapes, and just different shapes that were out the side. But the big ball of light, it left. And then that Sunday morning at church, my pastor got up, and he told the same story, that him and his father-in-law followed this thing down the highway for miles, and then it just disappeared.
Wow.
So
you have witnesses that there was something.
Yes, the pastor got up.
That's great.
Yes.
So how high was it, would you estimate, when it was just hovering there?
I'm going to say it probably wasn't 5 feet off the ground.
Well, no beings emerged from it or anything like that?
Nothing, and there was no sound, and I just looked out the window. I wasn't about to step out the door. I was scared to death because it was just me and my son there by ourselves. And like I said, it was just the brightest light I've ever seen. Like the sun had come down.
Yeah.
It was just
a round glowing ball.
Glowing ball.
What color was the light? Was
it was yellow.
Yellow? Yeah,
just
I see
a
why you say
bright
the sun then.
light, yellow, white, mainly white, with yellow in it.
Did you have any missing time? Like some time
No,
you can't
no
account
missing
for?
time. No missing time. I was just scared to death because my son was in the bed, and he was a little baby, and I was terrified. And so I told my husband about it. I'm like, I think you need to come back home from work. He's like, You're seeing stuff. That's
I'm not coming
true.
home for
I'm
that.
like, I wish
it's just
at
an
the
alien
time
invasion. You're fine.
that, of course, cell phones and stuff weren't.
Yeah.
I wish it was something I could have videoed at the time.
No kidding.
I wish I had a video camera.
Yeah. Well, that's a fantastic story.
Well, thank you for listening to me.
Thank
because
you
not
for,
many people do.
Thank you for telling me, and I totally believe your story.
Thank you.
So don't worry about being crazy.
Yeah,
We're all kind of crazy around
well,
here.
I am. That's probably why I saw it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Holy crap, that's one unusual UFO encounter. Now, I wish I would have thought to have asked her if she had any unexplained medical symptoms in the years following that incident, to know if, like, I don't know, hair started falling out, cancers, or some other weird medical stuff. So, Renee, if you happen to be listening to this episode, email me, sandman@parareality.com, and let me know something. I'd love to hear if you've had any type of unusual medical stuff go on since that encounter. And you guys probably were, I mentioned earlier that, we're outside and we're behind the main speaker tent, and what you were hearing in the background with all the yelling, with the yeah, that was the infamous Turtle Man, who was, I think, like one of the very first speakers on the stage at the festival. And just in case you're wondering, yes, he really does talk that way in real life. It's not just a thing for TV. He really does talk like that, and it seems like every other sentence is followed by a yeah. So, yeah, for all you Turtle Man fans out there, if you've never met him, he's walking the walk and talking the talk. That's how he lives. So my next interview is with David, who had a conversation with his cousin who came to visit him while he was in the hospital. And this was I also back in the 80s, so this is the third one that goes in the Wayback Machine here. And what's really unusual about this story is that the cousin that came to visit him had actually died in a car accident several hours before coming to see him at the hospital. So this is David's story.
I understand, sir, that you've got a ghost story that you want to tell me.
Yes.
Yes, okay, I'd love to hear your ghost story.
It was the year of 1985, was in a car wreck. Was in the hospital. It was a Friday night. My cousin came by to see me, and she came in and said, "Hey, I just wanted to say bye before I go." I said, "Well, yeah, I'll see you next time you come up." This was about 9 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
Well, the next morning I found out she died about 7 o'clock that evening, and she was there saying bye because she knew I'd never see her again.
So she died at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
And you talked to her at 9.
At 9 o'clock, it was right at the end of visiting hours. So.
Wow. Okay, all right. So I have to go. I have to pick this apart just a little bit. So, did you physically like see her, or was this a phone call?
No, she was physically at my bed.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Okay, she physically like solid, like just like I am in front of you.
Outside the bed saying, "I'll see you later."
And you had no clue. You didn't get
nothing until the next morning.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yep, and ever since then I've been a believer.
I would too. I don't blame you. Wow. Did you ever hear anything else from her again? Any kind of contact or anything like that at all? No, just that one time. Were you guys close when she was alive?
We all lived in the same house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was a car accident that she passed away.
We had a car accident on one Friday, and the following Friday, she had a car accident with her boyfriend, and they both died.
Oh no. Well, I'm sorry for your loss on that.
Thank you.
Around about the same, I can't remember when it was, but it was exactly, but it was around about the same time as that night. It was early 80s, maybe mid 80s, but my grandmother got in a car accident. She didn't die or anything, but she almost did. She had a near-death experience, so that kind of reminds me of that story. But yeah, thank you for telling me that story. I really appreciate it. That's an awesome story.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Man, I don't know what to say about this story. You know, I've heard numerous stories about people getting phone calls from friends or loved ones like right after that person died. That's not really an uncommon or unusual story. You know, it's like they're saying bye, you know, just saying one final goodbye. I'm calling you up, you know, but I've never heard of an actual full-bodied apparition who came to pay someone to visit and have a conversation with them, no matter how brief that conversation was. You know, I've never actually heard of anything like that, and that story just creeps me the hell out. So David so far is winning the award for the creepiness factor on this episode. Man, I don't know what to say about that. It's just, it is creepy. And I think now would be perfect time to pause for the cause and see if I can pay some bills. So listen to this, and I will be right back in a minute.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, next up is Jen, and this is a little long, but it is a fantastic story. She's got one of the most amazing non-ghost ghost stories that I've ever heard. Now, what do I mean by non-ghost ghost story? And why would I include a non-ghost ghost story in this episode? Well, you're just going to have to hear the story to find out why. It is a great story. She's a wonderful storyteller, and I can't wait for you to hear this. So without further ado, here is Jen's non-ghost ghost story.
One of the most awesome stories I have heard in a long time. And
it's all true.
It is all true. And I am going to let her tell this story. This is an awesome story. Jennifer, tell us your story.
All right. This is a non-ghost ghost story. So when you listen to this, understand there is no ghost in this story.
But there should be.
There should be.
There really should be.
So years ago in the 80s, a friend of mine and I drove down to Baja California Sur to go look at the whale migration. We did not see any whales. We completely failed down on that. But at one point, we drove across the peninsula to Bahia de Los Angeles just to see it, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing about the hotels at this time is all the hotels, you kind of drive up to a hotel, you say, do you have a room? They say, yes, it's $20. You hand the $20 over, and then they give you a key, and you get the room.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So we get to Bahia de Los Angeles, and it's about 3 or 4 block town, one road in it. And small. But it is a tourist destination for fishermen in the Gulf.
Okay.
And we go from hotel to hotel. Do you have a room? No, we don't. And we end up at the very end of the road.
Oh, man.
And we get to the hotel and we say, do you have a room? And silence. And the guy looks at us. He looks at his friends. He looks at the floor. He looks at his friends. He looks at us. He looks at the floor. Looks at his friend. Looks at us. Looks at the floor and says, yes. And we kind of go, okay, how much is it? He looks at his friend, look at the floor, look at his friends, look at the floor, look at us, look at his friends, look at the floor, $20. So we go, great, here's your $20. And he goes, okay, and I didn't tell you this before when we said before, but some people came behind us. We literally got the last room in town. Like this was the last one. The next people, he said, no. So we would have slept in our car had we not gotten this room, right? So the next thing that happens is we go, where's the key? And he's like, you don't need a key. And we're like, what do you mean we don't need a key? We are Americans in Bahia de Los Angeles. How do we not need a key?
Yeah.
And he goes, you don't need a key. And he looks at his friends and we go, okay, well, where is the room? And he goes, it's number 6, but come with me first. And he takes us to a storage room, and we get our blankets and our towels and our sheets and soap and everything. And he hands us this stuff and hands it to us in our arms. And we're like, okay. He goes, it's number 6. And we're like, okay. And as we're walking to number 6, we realize a crowd is forming because word has gotten out that we have rented this room. And there's now a crowd. That quickly. There's people in the parking lot watching us enter this room. And we're thinking, this is seriously weird, but okay. We open the door. It's humongous. This is like the best $20 you could possibly spend. It's a gorgeous room, really big. It's got 3 queen-size beds in it.
Dang.
And but none of them are made. It's not ready for a guest at all.
Yeah, because he gave you all the stuff.
Yeah, they did not make up for the guests. And we're like, okay, this is kind of weird, but whatever. We use the bathroom because we've been driving. It is freezing cold in there. The rest of the room is very comfortable. The bathroom is like, see your breath cold.
Wow.
And so we make up the bed and we're kind of just detoxing from the drive, trying to figure out about dinner. And my friend is pulling tarot cards. And I've got this poem by Goethe in my head that's in German. It's Unter mir Weltmenschen tot. This is the last line of the poem. Unter mir Weltmenschen tot. Under me, the world, people, and death.
Under me, the world, people, and death.
Right. And it's just repeating in my head, and I have no idea why. And so I tell my friend, this is really weird. I've got this really weird poem stuck in my head. And he goes, oh, well, I didn't want to tell you, but I keep pulling the death card. I'm like, oh, okay. So we decide, rational people that we are, rational people that we are, that the bathroom's probably haunted because that is freezing cold. And it's kind of, you don't want to be in there.
Yeah.
So, but we also decide whatever this, if it's haunted, this ghost is not scary. It's just in the bathroom. So we can sleep in the rest of the place. We also decide everybody in the courtyard must think this room is haunted. It's best if we move all our stuff from the car into this room because no one's coming into this room because everybody thinks it's haunted.
I mean, safe.
It's safe. Like, that's why we didn't need a key.
Yeah.
That's why people are watching us go into this room.
Yeah, no one's going in there.
No one's going in. We're fine.
Yeah.
So I lay down on the bed and I fall asleep, and my friend's like, I'm going to go take a shower. I'm like, okay, great. And I fall asleep because we've been driving all day. I'm tired. I hear this bang. And I wake up and it is pitch black. You cannot see your hand in front of your face, pitch black. I've never been in that sort of darkness unless I've been in a cave before, right?
Spooky.
It is just like you can't see anything. And I call out for my friend. He does not answer.
Oh, no.
Last I know, he's in the haunted bathroom with Ghost Guy, right? And I call out again, nothing. So now I'm starting to get a little worried and anxious. Like, did the ghost just kill my friend? I don't know. But I know I have a flashlight on the dresser across from the bed. So I get out of bed and I like make my way. I can't see anything, but I make my way feeling to this dresser. I'm fumbling around on the dresser trying to find the flashlight. No flashlight. I didn't miss it. There's no flashlight there.
Oh no, gone.
So now I'm thinking, okay. And I know where the door is. It's on my left, and I'm thinking, I'm just gonna go to the door.
Yeah, just make my way out of here. Yeah,
and hope it opens, because it better frickin' open.
Yeah,
that door better open. So I walk over to the door, and as I'm walking out the front window, I see a bobbing light, and I'm thinking, okay, like this
story keeps getting weirder.
It just keeps getting weirder and weirder. The door, in fact, I get to the doorknob, I turn it, it opens.
Yay.
Okay, so I'm not going to die by Ghost Man in the bathroom.
Right.
I'm good. I open up the door, and there's my friend coming up from the beach with a flashlight in hand. And the light I saw was the flashlight bobbing as he's walking to me. He had taken a shower, gotten dressed, gone to the beach because we were in an area with phosphorescent algae down at the beach.
Yeah.
And so he had gone to look at this bioluminescence.
Stuff, yeah.
And I told him what had happened. He goes, oh, yeah, the reason I came back is because the transformer in town blew. And all the lights are out, and I thought you might be scared.
That was the bang that woke you up.
That was the bang that woke me up, is the transformer blowing.
That is an awesome story. That's why I wanted you to
tell
me
the
ghost. Story. No ghost, but did you ever get any backstory about why people thought that room was haunted? Did anyone ever tell you anything?
No, we didn't speak Spanish. I mean, I know I'm from Los Angeles. I speak poquito.
Yeah.
But not enough to have that sort of conversation. We didn't have phones at the time to do auto-translate and things like that. But it was clear to us that absolutely no one living in this town would enter that room.
Wow.
It was seriously, there was a crowd.
We
felt safer putting our stuff in the room than leaving it in the car, because no one was. We did not need a key. It was freezing in that bathroom, and everybody they literally did not want to rent this room to us.
I would love to know what happened in that hotel room. That is an amazing story.
Yeah, no ghosts though.
Well, you don't know. There was something there.
Possibly.
It just didn't bother you. Maybe you felt
no.
sorry for you because the transformer blew.
Well, I fell asleep. We slept really well. I mean, nothing happened all night. There's aside from a freezing bathroom and a scared population, we have nothing to go on aside from a transformer blowing, which affected the whole. That's why it was pitch black. That's why there was no ambient light coming into the room, is there were no street lights. Right, everything was, and apparently
the whole town was dark. Yeah,
apparently no moon either. That night.
Wow,
it was just like a confluence. But the phosphorescent algae, bioluminescent algae, was phenomenal.
I bet, because there was nothing blocking it
That's
out.
That's right, exactly.
That is a great story. Thank you for telling me that story. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for listening.
Yes.
Wasn't that just an amazing story? I mean, it had all the elements of a ghost story: the town, the hotel, the freezing bathroom, the bouncing light, and whatever kind of history that room had of it being haunted. Only no ghost. Now, this is a perfect example of why you need to thoroughly investigate all claims of the paranormal and do your best to debunk them. And if you can't explain it, then you're left with the paranormal explanation, right? So, once again, this was another way back, story. So we have several that go way back 30 or 40 years or so. And, I said so far David was winning the creepy factor tonight. And Jen is she's winning best story so far. She's a great storyteller. That was just... You're on the edge of your seat, or at least I was the whole time. I was like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And nothing. But it wasn't a letdown, really. Great story, Jen. Thank you for telling us that. Next, I've got Billy waiting in the wings. Now, he's part of Night Vision Paranormal, a paranormal investigation team out of Western Kentucky. He's got a couple of stories about Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and that's a place that I've been to a couple of times myself. So without any further ado, here is Billy.
All right. I've got Billy here with me. Billy, I understand you've been to Waverly Hills. First of all, tell us your name and where you're from, what you do.
Sure. My name is Billy. I'm from Western Kentucky. We live really, really close to the LBL region.
Yes.
Really close to Paducah. Those are towns that people's probably heard of.
Uh-huh.
I own Night Vision Paranormal with my wife. And we're just a small family-owned and operated crew that consists of my wife, me, my father-in-law, and our children. And every once in a while, maybe another family member will join along. But we just kind of go out and have fun. We're just looking for the truth.
Now, you said LBL, so for those of you who don't know, LBL is land between the lakes.
That's right. So like I said, we live really close to it. And we get over there when we can, looking for Bigfoot, Dogman.
Nice.
And then we do ghost hunting and all kinds of things. Anything crazy out of the normal.
You had any success at LBL?
We haven't had any success yet, but we're still looking.
Great.
My father-in-law heads most of that up.
Okay.
And he's over there quite a bit. Maybe one of these days you'll find a golden ticket.
I hope so, yeah. So understand you've been to Waverly Hills a few times.
That's right. We've been there 3 times.
Yeah, okay. I've been twice, so you got me by one. So
Sure.
what's a couple of your favorite Waverly Hills stories?
Man, we've had a lot.
Yes,
it's
man,
always
you can't
been
go
very
there and not get
active.
something.
The first time that we were there, we didn't really know what we were getting into. It was our first ever ghost hunt.
Yeah. Whoa.
And we kind of went with friends, and we had a lot of good EVPs from there.
Man,
on
the wind
that
is
trip.
really kicking up.
And we did have a situation. We were with some friends of ours on that trip, and my wife and I and the friends of ours were on the 4th floor, which is the creeper floor.
Yep.
And me and my friend Nikki, we had an experience where we smelt this rancid smell.
Oh.
And felt like really sick.
Oh,
my
no.
wife and her husband didn't smell it, thought we were crazy, had no idea what we were talking about. And it was almost like you could walk into it and walk out of it.
Oh.
And we would walk into it and feel it and smell it, and they would walk into it and look at us like, what the heck? So that's kind of the oddest thing that's ever happened.
Dang.
My wife had footsteps follow her down the hallway. She's seen a shadow person.
I've seen several shadow people at Waverly.
A lot of good EVPs.
Yeah.
The best EVP that we ever caught, we were in the freezer area. And they had told us when we kind of did the little pre-tour that's where they used to have to keep the children with the overflow during the height of the pandemic.
Okay.
They would take the food out, use it differently.
Yeah.
Let's just say that for the podcast.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
We were sitting there and we asked if they had any brothers or sisters, and we got sister just as clear as day.
Wow.
We picked up a EVP one time on I can't remember what floor it was, and we asked if they used to work there. We got nurse very clear.
Dang.
So a lot of neat stuff from there. It's a really cool place to go and see.
Yeah. I got I don't know how many shadow people I've seen at Waverly, a bunch. I've seen a bunch. The weirdest thing, though, that happened to me at Waverly was the first time that I went. I actually, I had this was, I think, back in, oh, God, I can't remember. It was the early 2000s. And I had a contest on the podcast, and the winner was going to get to go with me to investigate Waverly Hills. And so there was me and there's the winner, and she had one person that came with her. I think it was like an investigation for 2. So it was me and the lady that won the I can't remember her name right off the top of my head, and her friend. And then I had another person that was kind of at that point in time helping me out with the podcast and stuff. So we all 4 went. And we took, of course, you're there taking pictures and everything. Now, this was back way before we had the cell phone technology that we've got now with all the great megapixels, and everybody had a camera on their cell phone, So I had a digital camera. It was like 7.5 megapixels. And it was like the best one you could get at that point in time, So I was running around, just taking pictures everywhere. And in several pictures, I can't remember how many, but it was multiple pictures, there was a skull just like floating around. It was just like a skull. And it was the weirdest thing. And, there's pareidolia and all that sorts of stuff. And, you're when you look at the pictures, you're looking to see if there's anything there. Right. And So I don't know. I'm not saying that I made something that wasn't there, but there was. I mean, look at the pictures, and there's like 3 or 4 pictures where and it's the same looking skull. It's not like it's a different one. It's the same looking skull in different areas. It's like something was following us around. You couldn't see it with your eyes, of course. Right. But that was probably the weirdest thing that I got. But I got really creeped out at Waverly, like big time creeped out there.
That encounter that I had on the 4th floor, that was probably the most creeped out I'd been, and one of the top creeped out moments investigating. I got one that close to tops it. We were at an individual location in West Kentucky, really close to where we live, and I was touched.
Ooh.
And it was funny. We had been to that location before, and it had been very, very active. And we were called in a second time, and we had never gotten. It was a 2-story house, and we had never gotten any activity upstairs. It was always in the basement, always.
Okay.
And so it was just the 3 of us. It was me, my wife, and my father-in-law in this particular investigation because it was a small home. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go do a solo session upstairs. You two can stay down here, see if anything picks back up. We'd kind of lost it. You know what I mean? We'd had it for a minute. It kind of went away. And I was sitting up there and just in a room by myself. The people were moving in, so the house was pretty empty. And I just had a lawn chair sitting in the middle of the floor, and I was just kind of sitting there, pitch dark black. Had my recorder on, didn't have no flashlight on, had my camera running, and wasn't really even doing an EVP session. I might have asked a question here and there, but I just wasn't rolling them off, Yeah. And unbeknownst to me, my father-in-law and my wife were downstairs, and they said something like, for him marrying my daughter or something, mess with him.
Yeah.
And about that time, I got flicked on the back of the head.
Wow.
And I can still point to the spot where it touched me today. It was the weirdest, coldest, tingliest sensation that I've ever had. And between that one and the weird feeling at Waverly, that's up there on weird things that's happened.
Now, tell me about the smell at Waverly. What did it smell like?
It smelled like somebody had left meat out for about a week.
Rancid meat.
In about 100-degree weather on blacktop.
Wow. I've never heard of anybody saying that at Waverly.
It was crazy. I mean, I honestly, when I came around the corner, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of Waverly is open to the elements.
Yes. It is.
Because of the way it's built. And when I kind of came around the corner, they had told us that, you may encounter animals, bats, things like that.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe like a dead animal.
Yeah.
But it was worse
That's
than
a logical.
dead animal.
Wow.
It was worse than a dead
And you could
animal.
walk in and out of it like
you could walk in and out of it, and it, it made me sick. Made me, and then you just step back and instantly feel normal and back into it, feel sick, feel dread, just like you wasn't wanted. So we went to the 5th floor pretty quickly after that.
So you didn't stick around to find out what was going on?
We didn't stick around.
Yeah.
My wife thought that she had saw a shadow go by, and we did kind of look for it, and it got to the point where the smell was just getting to the 2 of us that could smell it, and we finally had to go up to the 5th floor because it goes outside, and just get a little fresh air to get away from it. I mean, it was crazy.
That's so cool, man. I've never heard of anyone going to Waverly and have that experience. So I wonder what that was all about.
It was crazy because you would almost, you don't ever want to think that somebody's doing something or something like that.
Yeah.
If all 4 of us would have smelt it, I would have put it to dead animal.
Right. But there's only 2 of you.
The fact that 2 out of 4 was the only ones that could smell it. And I tried to pride myself on having a pretty strong stomach,
Yeah.
I can take quite a bit. I couldn't take that.
You didn't vomit, did you?
I didn't, but I thought I was going to.
Oh man, that's nasty.
If we'd have hung around longer, I would
probably would have.
I would have, definitely.
Well, that's a great story, man. I appreciate you telling me that. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for the Waverly Hills stories, Billy. Rancid meat. That's something that I've never heard anyone describe as an experience that they've had at Waverly Hills. Now, I've been there a couple of times, and I've known several people who've been there multiple times, and none of them has ever said anything about smelling rancid meat. And if you remember, he said that there's a lot of Waverly Hills that is open to the elements, and he is correct. So I'm wondering if maybe some sort of animal or something didn't get in there somehow and go to, there's all kinds of nooks and crannies and corners and places to hide. I wondered if maybe an animal didn't get in there and die. Maybe it was sick or wounded, or maybe got trapped behind a wall or something like that. But that's a really, really unusual thing to happen in any paranormal investigation, but especially at Waverly Hills, because I've never heard, he's the only person that I've ever heard that's had that experience. So thanks, Billy, for the story. And by the way, Billy, if you're listening, I'm actually following you guys, Night Vision Paranormal, on Facebook, and I'm liking your stuff. So coming in the home stretch here, next up, I've got someone that, he's an anonymous person. He wished to remain anonymous. He is a former Marine who, when stationed at 29 Palms in California, had an encounter with an unknown entity while he was out on a multiple day exercise.
All right, I got another story here for you guys. This one is, I don't know what to make of this story. So I'll just let you, we're going to remain anonymous here, but I'll let you go ahead and tell the story. This is a really weird story.
So I used to be in the United States Marine Corps. I was an 0311 rifleman, and at one point my unit was doing a exercise over in 29 Palms.
Okay.
And I was, at the time, I was just a road guard at the time, and usually what happens when you're a road guard, am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. Usually most of the time when you're a road guard, they'll usually just leave you there.
Yep.
Give you some water.
Good luck.
Hand you a couple MREs, and they're just like, we'll come back and resupply you later.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be here for a couple days.
Yeah.
So usually when you're out there, it's more or less, you're more or less doing a very hot camping trip.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much all of us were, it was, I think, second day, and we were all just kind of hanging around, you know, because all of us couldn't go to sleep just yet.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe, I want to say around 11:30 midnight time.
Mm-hmm.
And we heard, you know, a couple rustling out there, and we just assumed it was an animal, because, I mean, out there, you get all sorts of animals out there, but as soon as we heard the noise, and that damn noise, man, like I was saying right before I came up here for this interview, I cannot begin to describe this noise to you. Like I said, it sounded like a bird mixed with a monkey is the best way I can describe it to everybody. I mean, a bird with a monkey. I mean, how else would you ever describe a noise like that?
I don't know that you can repeat how that sounded. So this.
Let me go ahead and try again.
All right.
It was like I want to do it like that. Like almost like it broke down. Like it couldn't.
Like the voice cracked or something?
Like it was almost like it was, I wouldn't want to say mimicking something. Let me not jump let me not jump the shark here.
Yeah.
But something about the way that noise sounded to me just sounded like it was unnatural, and it sounded like it came from something that didn't really know how to do it, and it would it sounded like it came from something that didn't know how to speak, and it was trying it for the first time.
Yeah.
The best way I can really explain that.
Yeah.
I mean, and then so we had blanks on site.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I think we either found them on the ground from some other guys way long ago or whatever. This was maybe, I want to say 3 years ago now. But so we loaded them because, I mean, I don't know what that thing was, and I didn't want to find out. So we loaded them up, and we shot a couple in that direction, and we heard it scurry. And like I said, it sounded huge. I mean, it sounded like it was at least like human sized.
Okay.
And you could not feel it. You could hear it scurrying throughout the desert. And I mean, it sounded like it was the way that the movement sounded. I don't want to say it was unnatural. It just sounded very fluid.
Okay.
Like it scurried through that desert real quick, because I heard that noise, and then all of a sudden the noise was already gone.
Did it sound like it was a bipedal thing?
No. Honestly, I want to say it sounded like it slid.
Really?
Like, maybe not slid, more so just... How else do I explain it? It's just one of
like
those
it was
stories,
slithering,
man.
or
like,
yeah.
I want to say like it was either slithering or it was something that was moving very quickly and knew how to traverse that kind of terrain, and was able to move very quickly.
Did you see it? Did you get a glimpse?
No, I didn't get any look at it.
So this was at night?
This
yeah,
was
you
at
said
night,
it was at
yeah.
night. Yeah. So how far would you estimate it was from you? I mean, you're in the military, so you can kind of get a good
I want
range.
to say it was pretty close. I want to say it was maybe about 7-10 meters away from us, and
Wow.
we still saw nothing. I mean, I
Wow.
didn't get a glimpse of anything. I just saw them rustling, heard the rustling, and saw a
Yeah.
couple bushes move, and that was it.
Flashlight? Did you get a flashlight?
We had
on, right?
NVGs. We had
Oh,
night
so you
vision.
had night vision,
Yeah.
but you couldn't see
And
it with the
I
night
couldn't see
vision.
anything. I couldn't see anything with the
wow.
night vision. I couldn't see it with my naked eye. We couldn't see it with our flashlights. We couldn't see
Dang.
anything. So
Okay.
it had to either be invisible or real fast, because
That's creepy.
we
Yeah.
didn't see anything.
Wow.
But nothing else happened.
How many people were with you?
It was 3 of us, including myself.
And all 3 of you
Yeah.
experienced the same
all
thing?
All 3 of us. We still talk about it to this day.
Wow.
It was one of the craziest experiences of my life. And nothing else
imagine.
happened for the rest of that entire field op. Nothing. It was so bizarre.
Bet you were ready to get out of there, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. By the time they came to get us, we were just about ready.
Yeah.
I think we might have ran inside the damn thing, dude. Shoot.
Well, that is a really weird story. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Wow. What in the hell was that? A bird mixed with a monkey. I've never heard anything described like that. Now, he told me off mic that he suspected that it might have been a skinwalker, but I don't know. I mean, skinwalkers are known to be, they're not known to be in that part of the country, at least as far as I know. Skinwalkers are associated with the Navajo tribe, which is located in the southwestern United States, primarily in northeastern Arizona, northwestern New Mexico, and southeastern Utah. So that puts them nowhere near 29 Palms. So could it have been something else like a Bigfoot? Well, maybe. I don't know if there's any Bigfoot sightings that have occurred in the 29 Palms area, but I think the likelihood that it was a Bigfoot is just as plausible as it being a skinwalker. It really could have been anything, though. There's a lot of weird stuff out there in the desert. I've got a really, really close friend of mine who was stationed out there back in the 90s, and he's got some freaky stories about all the weird happenings out there in 29 Palms. Maybe I should get him on the podcast one day, and he could tell us about some of his freaky stories from 29 Palms. But skinwalker, I'm not convinced. But even he wasn't convinced that it was a skinwalker, but he didn't know what else to call it. And the fact that he couldn't see it, he never saw it, couldn't put eyes on it, just kind of adds to the mystery. Like I said, it could have been anything. There's a lot of weird stuff out there in 29 Palms, a lot of it. Okay, so I've saved the proverbial best for last. And rounding it out tonight is JR, who is a Bigfoot researcher and investigator. So I opened up with a Bigfoot story, got to close with a Bigfoot story, and here it is. Now, JR lives in what he calls a Bigfoot hotspot, and he's got not one, but 2 Bigfoot stories for us. So this is a little extra long segment here, and here is JR with his Bigfoot stories. All right, I got another storyteller here. Who are you, sir?
J.R. Millwood
J.R.
from the
Millwood.
South Mountains of western North Carolina.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast and for telling me your story. I know you. We talked earlier, and you got a couple of stories that I wanted you to specifically tell us about. So, and yours are Bigfoot related.
They are.
Most of the people who are telling me stories, it's been not Bigfoot. So I'm glad I've got a Bigfoot story. So tell me your Bigfoot story, sir, because I really want my people to hear.
We live in a hot spot.
Uh-huh.
In the South Mountains of North Carolina, which touches Cleveland County, Burke County, Rutherford County, and McDowell County.
Uh-huh.
And we live within that hot spot. And my wife's a believer. The first time we saw one, August 2017, she's willing to go in the woods, but normally she'll only go in the summer, and we creek walk. We put on water shoes, and we walk in the creek, which is one of the major creeks of the eastern end of the South Mountains.
Okay.
And she's able to walk in the wilderness without negotiating the foliage and all of that.
Okay.
So we traveled into an area on that creek that we hadn't been before, deeper into the wilderness.
Okay.
But we got to a point when we couldn't proceed any further because the last storm had presented a big log jam.
Okay.
There, and she didn't want to get out and skirt it because we were wearing shorts, and she was a cop, and she would pull over a carload of people in the middle of the night, but she's scared of spiders. So we turned around. We turned around to go back, and I had a feeling, just a weird feeling like you're being watched. It's not the first time and won't be the last.
Yeah.
And we stopped to rest. Now I live to aggravate my wife.
Oh, me too.
And she says, I don't want you doing Bigfoot calls or doing tree knocks because I don't want them called in on me. We stopped to rest, and this was a broad daylight. This was about 3 p.m. on the first Sunday in August of last year.
Okay.
And we stopped to rest, and I picked up a piece of stick out of the creek, and I whacked on a tree just to aggravate her.
Yeah, of course, exactly.
And I ask you to keep in mind that daytime activity is low. You hear very few vocalizations or anything.
Right.
The last thing I expected happened. To our right, on that side of the creek, there was immediately a very loud wood knock. As a matter of fact, whatever it used to hit the tree, in my mind, it was maybe a partly rotten log. It picked it up and hit a tree with it. You heard it hit and then crash.
Yeah.
Immediately to our left, opposite side of the creek, there was another tree knock. This one, though, was a very sharp, clear crack.
Like in response to the first one?
I believe it was in response.
Okay.
And I think they were letting us know we're here.
We're here, yeah.
And I persuaded my wife. I said, let's just take a knee. Let's do a listening post and observation post to see what happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. After about 10 minutes, we moved on. Got about five more minutes up the creek, and suddenly from our left, which would have been from the west, a piece of quartz a little smaller than a softball came and directly over my wife's head, missed it by about 2 inches of hitting her in the head. And it splashed beside of us. She saw it I had a good view of it, but she saw the rock out of her peripheral vision. I said, all right, let's do the same thing. And I won't say exactly what she said, but it was clear she wasn't going to stay in place.
She wasn't having any part of it.
And it looked like she was water skiing without a boat pulling her. She was done.
Walking on water.
And as we proceeded, she was moving faster than me, than I was lagging in the rear. And on both sides, we were obviously being shadowed because it's very clear when something in the Appalachian forest floor, all the leaves.
Yeah.
I don't care how good of you are hiding in the woods, you cannot disguise the sound of the leaves crunching.
Yeah, yeah.
Both sides of us, heavy, flat-footed, and then we picked up the smell.
Okay.
Kept going. It finally, they stopped following us, and
it's like you got out of their territory, and they
got out of their territory. And as we got on up the creek toward the little bit more civilized area, there's some of our neighbors were there.
Yeah.
And they asked us if we heard the whoop earlier, and we did not hear it.
Wow.
And now I theorize that the moment we crossed a certain line, there was a whoop that let how many of them know?
No. Okay, they're gone. They're out.
They're in our territory.
Okay.
From then on until We crossed back over that.
Okay, so the whoop was like letting people know there's someone here.
Letting the other ones know.
Okay.
In the clan.
Wow.
Generally, it's approved of. We call it a clan of Bigfoot, CLAN, and I think it was letting everybody know, all of their people, all of their members of their clan know.
Yeah.
All right, we've got intruders. Keep an eye on them.
Keep an eye. Yeah. So you mentioned the smell. What did the smell smell like?
It's a mixture. It's very. Even when it's faint, it's very foul odor. I've smelled it when it was very stout and when it was weak. But it's distinctive dead dog or dead meat, rotten meat with maybe a wet dog in there. Sprinkle some skunk.
Yeah.
There's no other smell like it. I'm outdoorsman, born and raised in the woods. Was in the military 13 years, and there's no other smell like it.
Okay.
No wildlife in North Carolina that is known produces that smell.
Wow.
And the naysayers and the skeptics, which we need, will say, "Oh, that was a bear." I understand what a bear smells like. I was raised in Western North Carolina.
Yeah.
But it's a very foul smell, and it's been so stout before that it'll make your eyes water.
Well, I've never smelled it, never encountered a Bigfoot, so I have to take your word for it. But you are describing what most people, from what I'm understanding, typically describe Bigfoot as like a wet dog, skunk, putrid smell. I've heard some people say like garbage pile or rotted, rancid meat or something like that mixed in with it. So yeah, it's right along with. So that's a great story. Thank you for telling me that.
You're most welcome.
Okay, what's the second story? Because this is a good one too.
We rescue dogs.
Yes.
Best we can within our means.
This is a good story.
And we rescued a little fella who's a Yorkshire Terrier, about 8 pounds. He was found at a garbage dump.
Oh.
And we had him dewormed, hooked up to an IV, rehydrated and everything, and got him home. And he was fine, except he was elderly, 15 years old to the vet's estimation. And he lost all his teeth and was blind from cataracts. But otherwise enjoyed life, loves being held, loves to eat. He knows his way around the house, in the backyard under supervision.
Yeah.
Everything's good. One day, though, he got out, and my wife didn't realize it.
Uh-oh.
And he got gone. And I combed the woods for 9 hours that day.
Wow.
Didn't find him. And I had given up. But on the 19th day after his disappearance.
19 days, almost a month.
This little blind, no teeth, deaf old dog was spotted on the creek by my neighbor on a sandbar, and he came and got me. And I thought, surely this is a mistake. This is a different dog. And I got down there, and it was Scoot, the miracle dog, standing on a sandbar in the creek, bone dry. And I kicked my Crocs off, and crawled down that bank like a monkey, and crossed that water.
Ooh, the wind's picking up.
And I picked that dog up and loved on him, and I noticed he was not malnourished at all. And he stunk. And you want to guess what he smelled like?
Sasquatch?
He smelled like the stank that we smell.
The wet dog, skunk, garbage type thing.
And it was very, very foul and very pronounced. And my wife said, "We got to give him a bath." I said, "No, we just rescued him. We're not going to traumatize him with the bath." We did take him to the vet the next morning without giving him a bath. And the vet remarked on the smell. But he had gained a 1/4 ounce from what he weighed.
Wow.
So we know this. We know that he couldn't hunt because he was blind, no teeth, deaf, elderly, so somewhat decrepit. Something was looking after that dog, because every animal in those woods would want to eat him, from possums, skunks, raccoons, wild dogs, bobcats, panthers.
Yeah. By all accounts, that dog should have been dead.
It should have been. It shouldn't have lasted more than a day.
If that long.
And something was feeding that dog and taking care of that dog and safeguarding that dog.
And it just so happened to smell like a Sasquatch that was doing it.
And I throw this in at the end. I always save this part to the end. When he was on that sandbar, you see that my neighbor made it it was his regular custom every day. He got on his glorified golf cart with the big knobby tires on it. And he would follow the creek looking for wood duck.
Okay.
That's whose sight. And he did that every day.
Okay.
Well, Scoot was on that sandbar. He had no tracks around him. He hadn't stood in that place long.
It was like somebody dropped him down into it. Like
it was like they heard the golf cart. He said, "All right, here's our chance to get the little fella back," and set him on that sandbar.
Oh.
There were no other tracks. He was dry.
But no Bigfoot tracks either, though.
No Bigfoot tracks.
But he was on a sandbar in the middle of the creek, though, so they could have walked down through the water.
When they walk in the creek, they will not walk on the sandbars. Unless the juveniles will occasionally mess up and leave a footprint in the sandbars, but very occasionally. We found baby Sasquatch prints in that same general area. Or it could have just reached down the bank from up top and just set the dog on the sandbar.
Well, that is that is a really amazing story, and I'm going to give you props to you and your wife for animal rescue. I'm a big animal lover. My wife and I have rescued more than our share of animals, so thank you for doing that. Props out to you for that.
It's our
I appreciate
privilege.
it, and especially with dogs who are elderly and have as many problems as that dog does, who's still alive. Yes,
he is
exactly.
still alive to this day.
So most people don't want to adopt a senior dog to start off with, yet alone a dog that's got all those problems. So thank you for doing that.
And we also adopt senior llamas and senior alpacas.
Wow. You got like a farm going on out there, like a petting zoo.
It's a farm of my wife's pets.
Well, thank you for doing that. That's a great thing.
It's an awesome thing, and it's great.
I want to, as a Bigfoot guy, I'm going to ask you this question. Have you seen the movie Sasquatch Sunset?
I have not.
I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to watch that movie.
I will.
I know it's on Amazon. You can probably rent it for like $3.99.
I'll get it.
You ever heard of it?
I have not.
So it came out last year, I think. It's got a couple of big name stars in it. Jesse Eisenberg, who was in he was in one of the Justice League movies, and God, I can't remember what the. Anyway, he was in one of those teen movies when he was real young about fake IDs and trying to get laid and alcohol and stuff like that. Right. I can't remember the name of it, but and then it's got Elvis Presley's granddaughter in it, who she's a kind of a semi-famous actress, has been in a lot of things lately. But anyway, it's about a family of Sasquatch over a 12-month period, and about them traveling through the Pacific Northwest, and about what happens to them. So I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I don't know, as someone who is a Sasquatch person, I don't know what you would make of it.
They definitely migrate with the seasons.
Yeah, but I think you should watch that movie and then let me know what you think about it.
I will certainly watch it.
All right.
If I'm not too tired tonight, I'll watch it tonight.
All right. Let me know what you think about it.
I can't wait.
All right. Thank you very much for being on the podcast and telling me your stories.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yes, sir.
Creek walking. You know, I was born and raised in the South, still live in the South, and I've never heard of it. Doesn't mean it's not a thing. I've just never heard of it. But I guess if you live in North Carolina, it's a good way to go squatching. Tree knocking and rock throwing, like what he was talking about, those are typical behaviors of Bigfoot, though. So, you know, probably something to that. And Scoot the miracle dog. What a story there, huh? Blind, no teeth, deaf, missing for almost a month, yet he was found on a sandbar in the middle of a creek. And he was completely dry and in good health. Had even gained some weight. So who or what took care of this little blind, deaf dog with no teeth? Was that incredible stench that was on him, did it come from his rescuer, i.e. Sasquatch? And Scoot had actually gained a little weight. Remember, how was it, half an ounce or something like that? So what did he eat? How did he get fed? And who fed him? Now, I've never heard of a Bigfoot having a pet before, but who's to say they don't, right? I mean, it's just one more thing that shows they're intelligent beings, and maybe are more like us than what we care to admit. And there you have it, everybody. That's going to do it. I want to thank everyone who participated in this episode, everyone who gave me an interview, TJ, Maribel, Elizabeth, Renee, David, Jen, Billy, my anonymous former Marine, and JR. Thank you all for taking the time out of your festival going to tell me your stories. And people, this is what I love. I love to talk to people who have had just normal, everyday people, just like me and you, the listener, who've had a story, some sort of strange experience, and you just want to tell it. You want people to hear your story. I love talking to people like that. And remember, if you're going to be at the Tennessee Wild Man and Cryptid Con next month, make sure you find my booth or my table and come tell me your story if you've got one. So that's going to be the Tennessee Wild Man and Cryptid Con on August the 16th, 2025. It's in McMinnville, Tennessee at the Milner Recreation Area. Once again, thank you everyone that granted me an interview for this episode of Parareality. Really means a lot to me. I really enjoy collecting these stories. And as I said, there you have it, everybody. Voices from the misty heart of the Smokies. They were raw, unfiltered, and brimming with questions that may never be fully answered. These weren't just stories. They were testimonies, glimpses into something bigger than ourselves, bigger than science, bigger than fear. We heard from people who've stared into the eyes of something they couldn't explain, people who carry the weight of experiences that don't quite fit into the everyday world, encounters that defy logic, and yet they happened. You know, after spending that weekend at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, I came away with one overwhelming truth. People are looking for connection, not just with each other, but with the mysteries that surround us. They're not trying to go viral. They're not chasing fame. They just want to be heard. They just want to share the burden of the unknown with someone who won't laugh, someone who will believe them, or at least listen with an open mind. And that's just one of the reasons why Parareality exists. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe, and I'm not here to declare what's real and what's not. I'm here to explore, to ask the questions that keep us awake at night, to shine a flashlight into the dark corners of the world and see what might be staring back. From Bigfoot sightings that challenge our understanding of biology, to ghosts that refuse to be forgotten, to strange lights in the sky and shapeshifters in the desert. These stories are more than entertainment. They're breadcrumbs, clues, pieces of a puzzle we've only just begun to resolve. Maybe it's all connected. Maybe even the Smokies, I'm sure they do, hold more secrets than we'll ever know. But one thing's for sure. I'm going to be going back to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, microphone in hand, ears open. And if you're there and you've got a story, come find me, because I want to hear it. In fact, if you, dear listener, have experienced something you can't explain, Bigfoot, ghosts, UFOs, time slips, cryptids, missing time, doppelgangers, hell, even something you dreamed that came true, reach out. Send me your story. Go to parareality.com or hit me up on my social media accounts. Email me, sandman@parareality.com, or call the Secret Bunker, 615-492-4614. 615-492-4364. That's 615-492-4364. Because this show isn't just mine. It's ours. The world's a strange place, and the only way to make sense of it is together. Well, that about does it for the night. Thanks for listening. But before I close it out, of course, here are a couple of more things for you.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. And as your vacation maximizationer, I'm going to make sure you hear the maximum sizzle of Comfort Inn's free hot breakfast. Let's get real close. Maximum apple. Now that's fresh crispimization. Maximum waffle. Hear that crunch. And that's maximum coffee. Oh yeah, that's the pour I'm talking about. Breakfast maximized before hitting the road. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
If you'd like to leave a comment about tonight's episode of Parareality, have an idea for a topic you'd like me to cover, or a story you'd like to tell, send me an email, sandman@parareality.com, or call the Secret Bunker at 615-692-1170 and leave me a message. Don't forget that by leaving me your message, you're giving me permission to play your comment back on the podcast. Also, don't forget to follow Parareality on social media. You can find the podcast on Facebook by looking for sandman.parareality, or you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram under the username @ParaRealRadio. You can also find Parareality on YouTube under the username Parareality1. That's Parareality with the number 1 out behind it. Parareality.com is the home of the podcast on the web, and it's also where you can find paranormal news from all around the world in the Para News section. And you can listen to past episodes in the archive section, all for the price of absolutely nothing. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can buy yourself some swag in the official Parareality shop while you're there. You can also support the podcast for free by leaving me a 3-star or better review on whatever podcast app you're listening on. Your reviews help the podcast to grow and reach even more people, and I would appreciate it very much. I'd love to hear from you guys, so send me those emails. Thank you. You know, I've got to record that again because I never think about it, but the very first thing I do is give you the number to the Secret Bunker, and the numbers had to change because I was using Skype for so many years, and Skype shut down, and I lost my phone number. I couldn't port it over to another carrier because it was a Skype number. So I've had to get a completely new number, and I can't remember to update that commercial, so I gotta write myself a note. So the new number that goes right in here to the Secret Bunker is 615-492-4364. That's 615-492-4364. If you've got a story to tell, call me up, leave a message. I think there's it's either 3 or 5 minute time limit that you've got on the voicemail, but you can, if you get cut off, just call back, pick right back up where you left off at. I'd love to hear your story. You don't even have to call to tell me a story. You can just call to say, hey, listen to the podcast, or hey, you suck, whatever. Just give me a phone call. Just say hi. 615-492-4364. Now, I am pleased to say that I have relaunched my official Patreon page. I'm going to give it another good go. The first time around that I was doing it, I didn't know what I was doing. Wasn't really sure about what Patreon was or how to use it, and I've since gained some knowledge, so I'm giving it another shot again. So for as little as $1 a month, you can get a commercial-free, all the episodes commercial-free, and you can get all kinds of other bonus content too. And if you just throw in a few bucks more, you'll also have access to my companion podcast, Midnight Syndicate and Beyond Reality. Plus, you get the opportunity to appear as a guest on the podcast as well. And subscribing to my Patreon not only helps support the podcast here, but it also helps me continue to bring quality content on a regular basis. To learn more
or to join, just go to patreon.com/parareality, or just go to parareality.com and look for the Patreon tab there and just click on it and it takes you right to it. Now, I know times are hard and, you may not feel like you need to pay any extra money, or you may be like me. You may be, you want to try before you buy type deal. You may not be a joiner or whatever. Well, don't worry, because you get a week free when you sign up. So you've got 7 days to get all of those extra podcast episodes that I've got up on the website or up on the Patreon page. You can listen to them as get them all in as much as you can. But if you do decide that you want to stick around and help support the podcast, I would greatly appreciate it, because I don't make any money at this. Every dime that I earn from Patreon or merchandise sales or whatever goes right back into this podcast. And I'm a small independent podcast. I try to keep it small on purpose. So any little bit helps. And if you just say, screw it, I'm not joining Patreon, I don't want to do it, that's fine. I get it. But you know how you can help the podcast for free? That is to just leave a rate and review on whatever podcast app you're listening on. The big three would be Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcast. So if you're listening, especially on one of those three, give me a 3-star or better review. I'd really appreciate that. Helps the podcast grow. And word of mouth, that's also free. If you got people who are into conspiracy theories like this, or I call them alternative topics, Bigfoot, the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, aliens, time slips, cryptids, all that sorts of stuff, then, this podcast is for them, and tell them, hey, I found this really cool podcast and this guy comes at it with a different approach, and check it out. So those are 2 ways that you can help the podcast grow, and it doesn't cost you any money, and I would really, really appreciate it. So until next time, keep your eyes opened, your mind sharp, and your recorder close, because you never know when they will come calling. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's episode of Parareality, and it's been a long one, and I appreciate you sticking in there with me. The next episode is going to drop on the 1st of August, 2025 at 8 o'clock p.m. Central U.S. time, so make sure you tune in, and find out. I hope that this podcast opens your mind up to new ways of thinking, expands your consciousness, and produces a change in the way you see the world. If you wish to change, you must lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe. I hope that you have a great evening, a great weekend, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. I'm Sandman. This has been Parareality. Stay weird, y'all.
If you wish to change, you must first lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe.
Hey, it's not over. Thanks for sticking around. I got something to tell you. Do you want to be a member of the Secret Sanctum? Well, if you do, there's only one way to do that. Somewhere on parareality.com is a link hidden in my website. And if you can find that link and click on it, you'll be granted access to the secret bunker, and you'll become a member of the Secret Sanctum. It's 100% free. It's not going to cost you anything. And once you become a member, you'll have access to some secret audio files and secret documents, some of which are exclusive only to Parareality and the members of the Secret Sanctum. You'll also get a free Parareality Secret Sanctum t-shirt. Just fill out the form and let me know what size you are, where you're located in your name, and I'll get that right out to you. So if you want to be a member of the Parareality Secret Sanctum and have access to the secret bunker, find the link.